America did too.
I feel like it was probably on at work at some point, and I kind of ignored it.
Clue has a Metacritic score of 36? That's criminal. Like, its IMDb rating is 7.3 stars, which is decent, but his Metascore is 36? Battleship has a Metascore of 41, and that movie was hot garbage.
What's its Rotten Tomato?
Let me pull it up. Tomato meter critics was 62%, which is decent. It's certified fresh, but on the low end. Audience score is 86%. So why is the Metacritic score so low?
I mean, you can elaborate. You can click on it and get all of the reviews.
Yeah, that's true.
Variety liked it.
Clue.
Boston Globe did not. Clue, the movie, not the board game, isn't so much a drama as it is a marketing gimmick. Presumably, Paramount Pictures believed that an audience clamoring to see actors play one-dimensional blah 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 blah. It gave it a 12. The New York Times didn't like it. There is so little genuine wit to be found in Clue. The film does have a speedy pace, but that could hardly be confused with Mr. Hog's madcap humor. Blah, 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 blah.
Jeez. Yeah, Metacritic.
Frantic, unfunny spoof. Gimmicky. People thought it was just gimmicky. They didn't like it.
But it's one of the best gimmicks in the business. This
No,
is probably
I
one
agree.
of the most fleshed out gimmicks ever. There's a reason why video game movies are so bad is because they don't know how to do the gimmicks. And
I think the problem is camp doesn't read well new.
Say that again?
Camp doesn't read well new.
Okay, yeah.
And this is like the campiest movie of all time.
That's very true.
This might be campier than the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That's bold. That's pretty bold to say.
I know. That's why I said it. It was a bold statement, Ian.
Damn. I don't think
it's
you're
such
wrong,
a campy
though.
movie.
Yeah, the Metacritic,
Like we've said,
Go ahead.
we haven't seen the advertising, and we've gone into a lot of movies criticizing them because of how they were advertised.
Yeah.
That have been new releases. So it's possible they were advertising something totally different and people were really disappointed with what they got. Though I can't imagine how they would cut together a moment without a gag from this footage.
No. Yeah. Trying to think, I wonder if you could make a completely non-comedic trailer out of any of the footage. Because literally...
Could?
I don't know, but because literally every scene is funny. There's a gag in every scene.
You'd have to be very selective. I bet there's some Mr. Body dialogue you could use, because he's so dry.
Yeah.
And a lot of reactions aren't innately funny without a setup.
That's true. Very true.
I challenge you, Ian. Make a misleading Clue trailer.
That'd actually be pretty fun. I think I might actually try and do that.
Well, everyone, look forward to it on the Patreon.
You can find that at patreon.com/casualcinephilia.
For everybody. All these things we're mentioning, guys, you can go find them if you're not a patron.
Yep.
We post things for you to look at. You don't even have to give us any money.
Mm-hmm. For free. But if you do want to give us money, we are more than willing to accept it. However, we don't want to block off too much content behind it. So,
yeah.
If it's something we mention in this, we want to make sure that it is viewable to everyone.
To everyone.
All right. So, there were some cringy moments in the movie.
Sure.
But I think it's only because that's just the comedy of the 80s, you know?
Right.
The fact that isn't the last line I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Yes. The last line of the movie is destroying the only proud gay character from the era.
Which,
So that's not great.
which
Here's the
so
thing.
funny because
That
he's
ending
developed.
used to be my favorite. And
Yeah.
then I watched it recently and I was like, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all."
What's funny about it is that
Yeah,
they
oh,
do
it's
a phenomenally great job of having a sympathetic
mhm.
homosexual character that his character traits aren't that he is homosexual. It's that
Right.
he is a working person trying to do his best, that it's being blackmailed because he is homosexual. Like, that's
Right.
not a defining feature about him, it's just who he is. And it's very progressive. And then they just
Right.
shit on it at the end.
Right.
It's so bad and funny and terrible and cringy. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
definitely. There are some not great moments with wrestling the cook onto the couch. Like how it's taking them 5 people and they're still all straining. That's pretty bad.
That's also a realization of my own character defects because I thought that was so funny. Like, it
Yeah.
was so bad. It was so bad. And it was
It
so
would be
funny, though.
harder to get away with nowadays.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely easier than the gay erasure thing at the end.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, a lot of the moments from this movie that are cringy now are just that society has progressed since the 80s.
Yeah.
Uh,
Man. Also, like, or Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum just being absolute horn dogs through the entire movie. God, like, it was, like, I know it was supposed to be played off as a gag, but, like, even I was getting, like, frustrated with Colonel Mustard with Miss Scarlet. It's like, get your hands off of her. Like, and there's
with Colonel Mustard?
yeah, when they're going like through the passageways and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, and she finally just goes, "Hands off, buddy!" And I was like, "Damn right, girl. Tell him what's up." Professor Plum though was just a creeper.
Yeah.
Through like the whole thing. Like they find the blackmail pictures of Colonel Mustard. It's like, how can you even get into that position? Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he just pushes the girl
Just
over
grabs
onto
the closest
you,
woman.
You do it like this, and you're like, whoa,
Like, dude.
Doc Brown, settle down.
Has anyone you know how there's the Pixar theory where all the Pixar movies are connected together?
Uh-huh.
Has anyone done a like Christopher Lloyd theory where he's the same person in all of his movies? You just have to find the timeline. He's just Doc Brown traveling around to different times, being all these people.
Oh, that's terrible. But I could totally see it. Except for Dennis the Menace, where he's the villain in that. Unless that's towards the end of the timeline, where he's just lost it. Lost all mental capacities. That was a good movie, too. Dennis the Menace.
I don't even remember it.
It suffers from the annoying child main actor problem.
I know I saw it, but it came out when we were kids, so
yeah. But
I don't remember it.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember. I have fond memories of it. I should watch it again to
Nice.
remember the good times or realize how bad my taste in movies were.
It's a gamble.
It really is. Like, going back and watching some of my movies from my childhood is an absolute gamble.
Mm-hmm. Like, one of my favorite movies as a kid was Thumbelina.
Oh dear.
It's an interesting one.
It really is. Very unique. Speaking of Doc Brown, though, have you seen that deep fake they made where they transposed Robert Downey Jr.'s face onto Doc Brown and Tom Holland's face onto Michael J. Fox's?
No.
It
No, I have not.
is so creepy because it fits perfectly. Like,
Oh, no.
and it makes me terrified because it feels like this is going to be the proof needed to make a Back to the Future reboot. And that is the last thing we need.
There's a Back to the Future musical in the works.
See, that's fine. A different, like, venue. That's fine.
Yeah.
We don't need another Back to the Future movie.
I just mean it's possible that the licensing is tied up at the moment. Might buy you a little bit of time.
Yeah. Here, I'll see if I can find it so you can post it on the Patreon.
Oh, God.
But
There's going to be too many things for this episode.
There it is. Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying because it looks so good.
Oh, no. There it is. That's terrifying. I don't like that. Even just the still.
Yeah, it's so well done and so perfect that it makes me curious how this witchcraft is going to be used in films in the future. You know, like with Rogue One, you know, where they did the full CG Grand Moff Tarkin. They could deep fake dead actors back.
I mean, they have.
But like in feature-length films, like that's something that hasn't been done yet. Like they've brought back characters like with Superman and Marlon Brando as his father. Or no, was it his father? No.
I don't.
There was something where they digitally transposed Marlon Brando's face into something, and for Superman. Yeah, it was Superman Returns, the one before the Zack Snyder. Because it was technically a direct sequel from the Christopher Reeves movies.
Right.
And so they wanted to keep the Marlon Brando as his father. And they digitally, essentially is a small, like an older version of a deepfake of Marlon Brando. It was actually pretty convincing. But, I mean,
nice.
But that's the best we've seen is like bit parts, cameo kind of stuff. Like, what would happen if, you know, spoiler alert, with Marvel, what would happen if next week, you know, knock on wood, Tom Holland dies?
Jesus, Ian.
But I mean, you know, knock on wood. I love Tom Holland. I wish the best for him.
You just had to go for one of the young ones, huh?
But he's like the face of Marvel now.
Yeah.
They can't just recast him. So they either killed off the character or they deep fake him. You know?
Right.
Or do these actors have the rights to their face? I don't know. It's a crazy mixed up time we live in. And I'm in quarantine, so I have time to think about this stuff. Anyways, back to a movie that came out before deepfakes were even a thing. Man, it's getting to me. Like, I'm technically an essential personnel, so I do actually work. But
yeah, same.
It's shorter hours for me because I'm in the office.
Lucky duck.
Yeah.
I'm still working my full 40.
Yeah, but it's getting to me.
Yep.
I'm a introvert.
Yep.
And it's getting to me, so I feel really bad for my wife, who is very much an extrovert.
But you got a puppy!
We have a puppy now, and Maya is so adorable. I'll send you some pictures to put on the Patreon.
Hooray!
More things to put on the Patreon. This is a Patreon-heavy episode. Yeah. If you haven't seen Clue, first off, it's quarantine. You have time now. If you have Amazon Prime, you can stream it for free. It's included with Amazon Prime.
Is it now?
It is, yes. It wasn't not too long ago.
Yeah, I searched literally last week and it wasn't.
Yeah, so I think they
now
just
I'm
recently
irritated
added
that I bought it.